So we're here on yet another YouTube game preview with Providence College Athletic Director Bob Driscoll. It's the day after Christmas, Bob. First of all, a belated Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thanks, Kev. Same to you. I hope you're well and getting a little rest and recuperation there.
Yeah, it's it's a couple off days. I really feel bad for your student athletes up on campus right now, not being able to go home and be with their families. I know that was the case with men's basketball, but can you just tell me who actually is on campus and still competing at this stage in between semesters?
Well, we've got the women's hockey team and the women's basketball team went home for a few days and will be coming back to compete. And men's hockey is still there and men's basketball is still there, which is kind of interesting. We gave everybody the option to go home if they wanted to, but with the quarantining and the testing and the desire to compete, they chose to stay. We've got about another 200 students literally from all over the world there as well. So kudos for them for making the commitment to stay and compete, because it's hard not to be around your family, as you know.
Oh, there's no question. And so is it just men's and women's basketball and men's and women's hockey? Is that pretty much it right now?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're not going to bring our regular student population back till about the 25th of January, which is when we will start our spring and fall sports as well. Some schools will be bringing them back earlier, but we're trying to kind of respect the campus's protocol. And, ironically, we've got a little bubble right now for our student athletes that are here to protect them. Once you get 4,800 students here, the opportunity to keep them safe kind of diminishes a bit. So it's a good space to be in right now.
So, Bob, you've been at Providence. Geez, I don't want to guess. Are we over 20 years now?
No, I just started my 20th year, November 10th. So I'm into my 20th, Kev.
Got it. But correct me if I'm wrong. For the last 2 years, you've been on the executive council at the school. So you're a real mucky muck now, Bob. But also I can only imagine the difficult decisions and conversations that have gone on throughout the summertime and into the fall. Can you just bring us up to speed on where the college is with the virus? I know you had some issues in September that it seems as if you really handled quite well, but obviously that plays into athletics very strongly.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to be on the president's cabinet for the past couple of years, which really gives me great insight in terms of what the campus is dealing with, which then helps me coach my teams and my student athletes and coaches even better. The challenge, Kevin, has really been how do we stay open? And there was a lot of pushback from a lot of people, I think, not only within the state, but even on campus about should we open in the fall. But it has such a huge impact on not only the financial ramifications of the institution, but the quality of life of our students. And if you ask, and you've had young children in your family who went to college, would you rather have them home with you Zooming and actually going to school, or on campus where they're being tested every week and safe and being around their friends? And I think from a mental health standpoint, Kevin, despite the challenges, it was really the right decision to make, and we're going to reopen again in January. And I think with the testing protocol and just what we put in place to protect our students, we did a really good job. The other thing we've found out, and I'm on the COVID committee with the Big East, is that these young people may get it and they may spread it, but they're not the ones that are really suffering from it. It's people my age and others that have to really be cautious. So I just think in the long run, it's good that we're open, and I think it's good for the young people that are on campus.
So, Bob, I don't know if anyone's asked you this, and obviously we're not looking for names, but did you have many cases, positive cases, on athletic teams through the fall? I know that everyone took a pause because there was a mild outbreak on campus, but how about actual athletes? Have you had any type of issues there?
We have had student athletes get it, Kevin, and then we put them into quarantine, but none of them had any health issues. We've had it on a lot of teams. We've had it on men's hockey team. We've had it on men's basketball early in the process, our lacrosse team, women's soccer teams, cross country teams. So I'd say 50% of our student athletes, small numbers, have gotten it but had no health related issues. And I've had other programs that have had none. Women's hockey have had none. Women's basketball has had none. we've really managed it well. I mean, the number of teams in the Big East that have to pause and shut down. We've been able to play all of our games, which is a testament, I think, to the discipline of the coaches and the student athletes, but also our testing protocol.
Just to clarify, you said 50% of your student athletes is 50% of your teams. I think
50% of the teams. Yeah, we have very small numbers. If you have one or two on a team, you have to shut down the student athletes that were in their proximity practicing. But nowhere near. Just small numbers. But 50% of our 19 teams have had it.
So, Bob, you make a good point. Providence has really done an excellent job. Men's basketball, we're going to switch to men's basketball for a moment. No issues that certainly have that we know of, haven't had to skip any games. Not the case throughout the Big East. Everyone from Butler to Paul, they've only played one game. Connecticut and Xavier, it's been really a big chunk of the league. Obviously, there's always been plans and discussions about shifting into maybe a bubble's the wrong word, but a tighter pod. Was that even close? Because, maybe 2 weeks ago, things weren't looking all that great.
It's interesting. We had plans for it. We still have plans, Kevin, if it happens, but we've learned a lot by the programs like Villanova, who were in a bubble for 7 or 8 days, I think, down at Mohegan Sun, and talking to Mark Jackson and Jay. They said it really became a challenge from a mental health standpoint to have kids just in their room, eating, playing the game, and coming back. And we made the decision that now that all the other students are gone and our campuses are safe, we have a better bubble here. It's like, I know you've really challenged me to open up some of the access to the media and the like, but we've made a really difficult decision to keep it tight so that we don't expose any of our student athletes to any outside people. And so I think right now, Kevin, I think we're in good shape, but that doesn't mean if the testing goes sideways as we enter into the second semester, we may have to look at that. But I think long term, it's not a great solution.
See, Bob, this is obviously a strange point in your career and everyone's career probably. How about the Friars are ready for a 3-game homestand? DePaul, Butler, and Creighton just after the first of the year. Can you imagine, in the real world, a 3-game homestand around the holidays here in Rhode Island for the Friars with really good games? I mean, the excitement and the competitive juices would be bursting through the Zoom screen here. Instead, I mean, do you go to the games? Do you keep your distance? Do you sit upstairs? I'm curious what your life is like in a really odd time.
Yeah, it's really, really strange. And it's really odd to be playing in front of no fans with cardboard cutouts and pumped in sound. And, the student athletes really have to bring their energy and practice. I would have been jumping at the dunk. And I really feel bad for the people that love the Friars, the state, the restaurants, the bars. I mean, everybody's taken a huge hit, not only financially, but emotionally. And Friartown, that's what we all do. So it's really sad, but I focus on the bigger picture. The goal 9 months ago was to create an opportunity for our student athletes to come back and be able to compete safely. And we've been able to accomplish that. And at least we get to watch it on TV. Kevin, I choose not to go to the games, not only because I want to protect the bubble for the people that need to be there. My job at a lot of the games is just to shake hands and kiss babies and support Ed and do those kinds of things. So I would consider myself a non-essential worker. The people that really have to be there should be there. So I watch it on TV just like you do, but I talk to Ed every single day around the stuff. But yeah, I have hope that we're going to get through this. Hopefully this vaccine will work, Kev. We're on COVID calls with some of the best docs in the nation, and they say that it's got a 90-95% efficacy. So hopefully next year at this time we'll be playing. But yeah, these are difficult times, as you know. You're doing your job really differently as well.
Yeah, no question. Bob, on that note, when you talk to those doctors, because I've heard about these calls with the Big East, they're really an impressive array of people that Val Ackerman and her team have been able to pull together. Needless to say, vaccines won't come into play here in basketball. Do you expect your student athletes to be able to get a vaccine this calendar year? Or are we talking about maybe not until, summertime?
Yeah, I wouldn't assume they would. You know, the hierarchy obviously is the frontline workers, the doctors, the nurses that are saving people's lives, and then, older people that are at risk, perhaps people in nursing homes, and then go down through the age group. As I said earlier, I don't think this young generation, the 18 to 22-year-olds, are the ones that are at risk, and if they get it, they don't. Most of them don't even know they have it. I'm not saying that it's not the outlier, but I don't anticipate that would be the case. And even if we had it, you're going to see a lot of pro teams get it. I think from a moral standpoint, Kev, I don't think that's the right thing to do. There are people that need it much more than the younger folks. And when we get to that point, we'll make that happen. But even if they gave us that option, I'm not sure I would take that. I would let the people who need it much more than the young folks do at this juncture. But that won't be my decision. I think that's going to be a state's decision, but that's kind of where I'm at on it.
Got it. But oddly, I turned on the TV last night. It's Christmas night. There's all sorts of basketball games on, and I come across the NHL channel, and the U.S. junior national team is halfway across. Well, actually, I think they're in Alberta, Canada, and they're playing Russia. Yeah. And as soon as the camera turns to the bench, I see Nate Lehman there. So yeah. Nate Lehman is coaching the U.S. juniors with, I believe, two Friars. Brett Berard and Pat Moynihan. Yeah. Do you talk to him? How does this happen? Is this a normal Christmas holiday type tournament? This is when they usually play the Worlds?
Yeah, it happens every year, and it's a big deal around the world. It's probably the best collection of young talent literally in the world. And in Canada, the whole country stops. I mean, it's a big deal, bigger than I even realized. So it's an amazing tribute to Nate and the respect he has nationally and now internationally. There's 20, 30 million people watching these games. We also have Teresa Feaster, our director of hockey operations, is there with Nate as a woman doing an amazing job. But Great. The cool thing about it is we don't skip a beat back here. We've got Ronnie Ralston, who's our associate head coach, who's the head coach of the Buffalo Sabres. I just hired a guy, Rico Blasi, who was the coach of the year at Miami, Ohio. So we've got a world-class group of hockey guys here, so Nate can go and do that. And it's a great tribute to him and also our program that he's invited to do that. So it's really cool you saw that.
I can't imagine being Nate. Obviously his number one concern is the Friars, and, they're off to a mixed start, just starting to actually trend in the right way, and he has to zip off and deal with a really important tournament. Is he on the phone every day back with those other gentlemen, or does he just shut it down and say, I'll see you in 10 days?
No, he talk every day. He's on communication every day with his team and the coaches. And, he's put together a great team, and really a testament to a great leader is you can leave the organization, go someplace else. And if you've got culture and great people, it doesn't skip a beat. We got off to a tough start against BC. They've got the best goaltender, if not player, in the country on that team. And, but we've beaten some really good teams, top 10 teams since then. And this is probably the talent-wise, probably one of the best, if not the best teams we've ever had. But really? Wow. We just got to get in a rhythm and flow. And I think we got a shot at really doing something special this year in hockey.
Bob, what does it look like for both the Hockey East and the Big East postseason championships? Does it make sense to go to TD Garden with no fans, Madison Square Garden with no fans? Why don't we stick with hockey? And what's the talk around the Hockey East right now?
Well, you see, they're starting to open up a little bit up there. I think the Celtics played there for the first time in a long, long time. And, if we negotiate a good rate to be able to go to the TD Garden, obviously you won't be able to have fans, or if they decide to let some fans in financially, it won't make sense. But it makes sense from a branding standpoint for the TD Bank to have, I think, Big Hockey East there playing on, Nesson, which is a great branding opportunity, and it's great for the young people. We are definitely planning on playing in Madison Square Garden at this juncture. We've been in great conversations with Joel. Obviously, we don't know whether we're going to have fans or not. If we do, it'll be small, but it doesn't make sense not to play it there. It's still Madison Square Garden. It will still be on Fox Sports, and the student athletes want that experience. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now, Kev.
That's great. And then just specifically men's basketball, I know that neither one of us is a red on round ball, but we have to talk a little hoop here because that's most people who are checking out this YouTube game preview are thinking about the Friars. You're the athletic director. You see them play at Butler the other night and just can't make a shot. They cannot make a 3-point shot. What do you say to Ed Cooley when he gets back? Because I know you do talk to him every day, and you're more of a motivational, shouldn't say cheerleader, but a motivational coach than an athletic director. So what do you say to a coach after nothing goes, they can't make a shot, or the puck just doesn't go in the net?
Yeah, as a former coach, I try to manage their state, because when you win, there's a blip of you're okay with it. It's a relief. But when you lose, you start questioning a lot of what you do. And my coaching is, hey, don't overreact to it. All you can do is put them in the position to make the shots. If they don't make the shots, that's really not on you. We got to work harder at practicing those kinds of things, and I think Ed does. But as a shooter, and Joe Hassett knows this as many, you got to keep shooting. Some days they fall, some days they won't. We haven't been really successful at 3-point shooting this year, and I'm not sure why that is. But what I keep telling Ed is, do the things you do well. Keep playing tough defense. You got to have some of your young guys step up and coach from a positive mindset. You know how frustrating it is when the ball doesn't drop and everybody feels it. And I think if we all get tight, and as a golfer, you get tight, man, you can't hit your shots. You got to stay upbeat and positive and just trust that the next game, this one coming up, that the law of averages will kick in. So it's just kind of managing their state. And, we play some really good basketball, and then we slipped a little bit on the road. But now we got an opportunity to 3 home games against some good teams. And if we can get those games, we're right back in the mix. So, I coach from a positive standpoint. That's what I try to do with Ed.
Last one, Bob, and there's no answers here because it's so unique. This is truly a COVID situation. You're Ed Cooley. You've played 6 games, 7 games, and all of a sudden you have to scout for someone who's played 1 game, DePaul. And they played a Western Illinois team that they were much better than. Yeah. You don't really know what DePaul is when they come into Alumni Hall on Sunday afternoon. That's an odd one. I mean, truly, first time in Ed Cooley's career where he's played 7, the opponent's played 1, and you have no idea what they're going to show up with.
Well, that's a really good point. So what I would coach Ed on, if I was on the phone with him, so listen, you guys have played, you're competitive, more prepared than they are, right? And you've played better teams than they have. So I think you have an advantage there. Secondly, I've always said this, it's almost like the Vince Lombardi deal. It's like, what I'm going to run, stop what I do. I'd worry less about what they do and worry more about what we do. If we do our execution, we hit our threes, we play tough defense, I think we win that game. So I wouldn't overthink the thing. I just go out and be the best at what we do and don't worry about what DePaul does.
I got it. Bob, really appreciate it. I hope we can do this every few weeks throughout the basketball season. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it, Kev. Thanks for all the good work that you do. I told the Journal folks today that you no longer work there. I canceled my subscription, so I really appreciate what you're doing.
Well, you're nice to say that, and go on. Get the local news anyways, please. Please get the local news. Thanks, Bob, very much.
Thanks, my friend. Take care. Go Friars.